Thanks so much for taking the time out of the busy day to share a couple of insights from doing research and being involved with labor in Slovakia. Would you mind telling me what the sort of situation on the ground is? The just transition is sort of unfolding, where people are aiming to it, we're discussing it, but what's happening on the ground?
Unfortunately, I have to say that in Slovakia, even within the trade unions, the just transition, it's not a priority on the agenda just now. Because the economic and social situation in Slovakia, it's a little bit, not little bit, but it worse like, for example, in Western countries. And we are still dealing with the bread and butter topics, e.g. wages and so on, working time and basic rights maybe of the workers. So just transition, it's something like not really relevant topic till now, even though for sure we as a trade union leaders, we are aware that for the future it will be crucial and key element for even in our trade union policies. But it is really hard to maybe explain to ordinary people. So, because I think there is a lack understanding what actually just transition means for the civil society, for the workers, for the regions, and so on. What are the positive and also negative impact of this process for the future?
What sort of responses do you see or hear coming from the labor force, basically, when you introduce this sort of new thing that's sort of happening, but they may not feel it just yet, but it's speeding up. So what's this? Maybe help us understand.
Yes, for us, I think it is really maybe campaigning towards our members, because we need to translate this academic language into language of normal citizens and normal workers and employees to understand what the consequences will be of all these processes. And for sure, as a trade union, for us, it's the most important, I think, to eliminate the negative impact and negative consequences of this process for the labor market, for the employees, for the employment as such. So I think the main topic is education, reform of education system, reskilling, upskilling, and so on, digital skills, and a lot of new maybe educational fields, and so on. So for us, for example, in collective bargaining and in collective agreements, we also try to push this topic. Unfortunately, I have to say the employer side is a little bit reluctant, and till now they refuse to implement or incorporate this topic into collective agreements. For example, right to training. So we are not able to agree on that. That is the priority, and it's important for the employees for the future, but also for the employers, because otherwise, the jobs will be losing.
Absolutely. And you mentioned one of the key themes of this morning's keynotes as well was a notion of a social dialogue and having that launched. What sort of state is that in, do you think, and how can it be facilitated to develop and to unfold?
Yeah, we had a very nice discussion, very good discussion in our workshops during this day, and I think we all are aware that a social dialogue is really important for this topic as well, for others as well too. But regarding social dialogue on this topic, especially for the just transition in car industry, we are feeling there is a lack of willingness of the employers' organization to be part of this dialogue and discussion. They have their own strategies on just transition and this process, but they don't want to discuss it with us as a trade unions and maybe to establish some common strategies on this, how to deal with this negative impact, for example. So, yes, maybe not only the campaigning, but we need to push somehow the employer side and partly government as well to establish a really effective social dialogue on just transition issue.
And how do you see the role and the participation of and the acceptance of broader society and civic participation and the general populace? How do they relate to this question? Is there any support for this? Or?
Yeah, as I said, we need to translate this really very specific language because it is really very specific topic. Our members and our citizens, they don't understand what is the just and what is the transition. What does it mean? So the understanding is, I think, still really low, and. I think it's a result of the lacking social dialogue at all levels, at the tripartite, national level, at the sectoral level, at the company level as well. Because we are able to do a lot via collective agreement, but I think it is not enough. We have to establish the national policy, educational policy, social policy, and so on. And there is a needed social dialogue at national level with employers, organization, and with government as well. So we started to think how maybe to use help or maybe assistance European social dialogue and European social partners as well. So.
Well, we hope that our project helps this a little bit, step by step, and we appreciate all the work that you're doing on this as well.